Alrighty, so I mean, pretty much what I'm gonna be doing through these streams is obviously it's gonna be like covering the analysis, obviously by ambitions, anticipations throughout the week. So more like lower time frame catered stuff, like what I'm looking at on the weekly time frame, for instance, similar to the updates I've posted on my X, for instance, with certain areas we need to pay attention towards. So let's go to that chart I create here. So for instance, we'll be looking at stuff like this, what to look for on the lower time frame, as well as paying attention towards mid-higher time frames, scenarios, and things we could see develop into next week. To be honest, it's a bit unfortunate that we didn't get the sweep down to here, because we did expect this gap to fill. Right, there was nothing unexpected about the gap filling. Right, um, I think a lot of people were a bit surprised at the velocity of this move, right? And well, I mean, you had some priced in news. As always, um, I never blame the news for volatility. It just coincidentally happens at certain areas, and it coincidentally happened here, right? We swept into this previous lower time frame SR here, 68.4, deviated below, did look like it was going to break, and then obviously it reclaimed. Matter of fact, let's start looking at the lower time frame, see if we could have seen a reclaim on this. No, you couldn't have. So even in this case, we had chop below, reclaimed, broke back below the reclaim area, went back up, broke below again, went back up, broke below again, and then had this squeeze. So to be honest here, you couldn't have really expected a clean like flip of this SR, right? You really couldn't have. For instance, like you would have just been looking for like something like this, clean flip like this, and then push through. That was going to be the trigger for me. And if we did hold this instead of obviously sweeping down to here, and well, you can see we didn't have any clean flips around this area, right? Give me a sec, guys. I don't know why the tickets are appearing. I've muted them all, but oh my god, give me a sec. Uh, oh wait, I know. Wait, let me just put myself on do not disturb. Give me a sec. There we go. All right, sorted. Guys, I'm at work, can't watch. Can someone update me? Thanks a lot. Everything's recorded now, man. Everything is gonna be recorded for people to go back on. Pretty much, I'm not gonna be listening to any music or anything. So yeah, we're just gonna do that. But yeah, like I was saying, pretty much you would have been observing for a clean SR flip, and we didn't have that. We had more messy type of PA, like break above, break below, break above, break below, and so forth. And then obviously we had the news here. We had the squeeze straight through, tested the 71.4K region, had this rejection all the way back down to around this area here. So very close to this area. We did have some imbalance fill on this. We do have an imbalance here. Pretty much if you use a volume profile, you'll see here there's a lot of single prints. Matter of fact, let me get TP up and I'll show you what I mean. But um, pretty much here you have a lot of single prints around here, single print here. Yeah, so um, pretty much didn't really need to pull up the profile because I know what's going to be there. But if you start looking at this initial impulse here, we had the push up, tested the 71.4, very nice rejection. If you followed the update, obviously you could have took a scalp short here, pushed all the way back down, tested close to the volume area high, front run it slightly, but we tested around this wick here, pushed all the way up into obviously NY Open, pushed up high into NY Open, and swept the high. And now we are back down to here and we're respecting around that previous CME area. Matter of fact, this CME should be a bit more closer to the 70K region, somewhere like around here actually. 70 point, well, 70,084, that should be where it is. But yeah, I mean, pretty much what I'm saying here is when we are range bound, right, these imbalances, these single prints in other forms, like you could say this is an FVG, but around the FVGs, we have single prints, so low volume. When there's low volume, it means liquidity was thin and there was not much trading activity within this area. And in this case, once we form imbalances like this, price usually fills these areas. So in this case, we should come back down to feel like these single prints here. For instance, we had some single prints all the way on this move here. Matter of fact, let me change the profile color so you can see. Let's get this off. Done. Let's put it more subtle so I can explain better. So you can see the PA, what's happening around it. But yeah, pretty much we had a massive dump back down, lots of single prints, price reversed, and pretty much filled nearly most of the single print here. And yeah, I mean, like pretty much same thing here. low volume. Single prints are just like when you have one print like this, but anything between 1, 2, or 3 is still relatively low liquidity. So in this case, if you look at my gray box here, you can see that if we hold like around this middle range here, where we have these areas here, then this gray box extends up to where we have low volume as well. And again, low volume can be tested. It was kind of expected for us to fill that gap as well. So nothing really unexpected happening here. I guess it was just more of like the squeeze of what has occurred. But it's Monday, and I mean, again, this was actually a very textbook sweep here. Again, I would use these profiles in your trading, so just like algo sessions, of course, like um, I don't actually need to apply them on my chart now because I'm just so used to all of the timings of things. But it's good to use if you are starting off or you've been in the even if you've been in the game for a while, man. Still very useful. I mean, look, right, London high, textbook sweep into NY, NY swept. This was a very textbook setup. Like, I mean, this was as clean as it could possibly be. Tested the previous high, swept in here, and obviously we're somewhere around here. So, I mean, at the moment, considering that we swept the highs into NY Open, pushed down. We had another sweep into another kill zone around 3, pushed all the way back down. You can't really tell much from the structure here, apart from the fact that we had some previous lows around here. We have a previous high here. Nothing really crazy. Like not really any clear lower time frame structure at the moment. All we're seeing is, well, we've pushed all the way here. Just like we're not really doing anything much at the moment on like the very lower time frame, but um, yeah, I mean, you have some like really shitty areas. Now, I mean, I don't really pay attention to the shitty SR levels, is because like they're not that strong. I like to pay attention to the most significant SR levels, and in this case, I mean, you could say we have some SRs like around here. Like what you do is you get the lower time frame, you get a box, and you mark it like this is a confluence zone. But I don't really like to like I don't place trades based off this, if that makes sense. I look for the sweeps into the sessions, and that's about it. Next session to observe is obviously going to be the transition from NY to Asia. That's obviously where we're going to see either a sweep of the lows, sweep of the highs around that area as well. So I don't really pay attention to these SRs on the lower time frame because they're just not that strong, right? I've been there, done that. They're not really strong, so I don't focus on them areas. But like I mean, yeah, respect below here, then we can push down, sweep this low here, and then obviously we have all of this imbalance formed here, liquidity. Um, which could be tested as well. So I mean, nothing really crazy happening at the moment. And I mean, if we let's just take off the sessions real quick and the profiles. So if you start looking at just my previous update here, my point what I was trying to get across on X, right, is that the structure is relatively consistent in terms of trend, right? If we go to the weekly, and obviously we start looking at the candles, right? Again, I observe things from a psychological standpoint, right? So what do we see here? We see bleed, bleed, sweep up the low, closed above this wick low, right? So this candle closed above the wick low. We had some buyers stepping in, right? Next candle opens. What do we see? Well, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of bleed, closed slightly above, had a sweep, front run the wick low, reclaimed below this previous wick here. Next candle opens, straight push through the highs, obviously swept around here, and obviously again we have another somewhat of an FEG around here as well. And in this case, candle went all the way up, retraced the entire thing, bears significantly in control, but we're still in a range and the trend is still relatively bearish. Lots of liquidity built on this wick. Next candle opens, pretty much goes straight through. So what did we see? So pretty much the questions I ask here when I'm looking at these candles is every candle tells a story, right? Every candle is telling us a story, right? You have to view things like this. At least that's how I view things, right? And I try to understand, okay, so who's hunted, who's next, the structure, the trend, and I try to observe, okay, so what's most likely to happen at the start of the week towards the end of the week? What levels can we test at the start of the week? These type of things, right? And if we start looking here, so this candle filled all of that liquidity. Next wick opens, sweeps the highs, instantly fucking retraces right back down to the middle range, right? So all we did here is we hunted all of these shorts built on this wick, took all of their stops, and then hunted longs all the way back down with a rejection after just hunting longs on this wick here. So what that tells me, at least, is that the trend is bearish below the 71.4 and 72.8 region. If we can't flip this area around here, well, then we're going to push back downwards. And as you can see, we opened the week, we pretty much just pushed straight upwards. Why? Because we had a CME gap here. This was going to be filled. We're still in the range. And the reason we pushed upwards at the start of the week is because what did this candle do? It closed very bearish, right? So pretty much, if a candle close very bearish or very bullish, there's a very good chance that at the start of the week, we're going to hunt the opposite direction. It's psychological, right? Like I was saying, there's a story behind every candle, right? In this case, this candle was a very bearish close. So why didn't it just continue lower? Well, because we already took out breakout longs. We already stopped out shorts. We closed in the middle range. Most longs have already capitulated around here. So the reason why the next one opened is because it needed to hunt some of the liquidity which was built on this rejection. And obviously you can see that's what's happened. So considering we're doing that at the start of the week, maintain below 71.4, 72.8. Then if we start, let's just remove these labels for now. You can see from the range that if we can't flip around this area here, so we have obviously the weekly open, the previous weekly open, which is sitting at 72.8, and then we have the previous range high, which is this wick here, which was the previous high we pushed, which he had on the lower time frame. You won't see it here, but so here, if we do not obviously get above this area, and I mean you can use fibs, right? I mean you can use here, so you have obviously the 0.5, 0.68, so that's usually where you retrace to as well when you're using wave counts. So I mean, pretty much if we're having a corrective wave here, then we have this, and then the next one will extend somewhere like around these areas. So if you factor that in, pretty much if we cannot flip this area, just purely from a technical standpoint, nothing to do with bias, if we can't flip this area, this is a corrective wave, this is acceptance back into range. Start of the week was just a hunt shorts, right back down to 65k. Start by the end of the week, right? Now, if we do flip 71, let's say 71.4, well, then we can extend all the way to around that 0.618, which matches up around that 72.8k region, right? So this is an area which we could test as well. Now, you probably all know I don't share every single trade I take, but on some of my scalp accounts, you could probably realize I was trying to target this CME gap, and obviously I caught part of this movement upwards. Wasn't trying to get 71.4 this early in the day. I was hoping we'd get that sweep into NY, but we swept it beforehand around like late Asia, London. So, all right, let me view the comments real quick. All right. What's up? What's up? Where can we find the records? So this is already being recorded at the moment, and it's going to be uploaded unlisted on my channel, and it will be uploaded in the Apex section of the Discord. I think with the market updates section, I was going to do updates like every like 3-4 days, but the issue is it's like it's quite time consuming in terms of doing things. So I think maybe I will just rename the channel and post the streams in there because the streams are a lot more easier to do because I can like be flexible. But yeah, all of the streams will be uploaded from now on for people who want to go back and obviously view certain things. If it hits 72.8k, would be appearing to form a head and shoulders. To an extent, but it's a bit of a messy one. I mean, like we had this very like gradual twop upwards. I know what you're saying. Like if we, let's say we done something a bit more slow, like this, for instance, then yeah, it would look like a head and shoulders, yeah. But if we just went all the way up like this, it would look like, I mean, still looks like a head and shoulders, but it's a bit of a messy one because obviously these candles which were around here. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, there isn't really anything major happening at the moment. Um, Obviously, we can see we just swept the highs. got to maintain below these areas here. If we can't maintain below, let's say for instance we play a bullish scenario, then let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah, so I mean this candle's opened here after sweeping the highs into NY. We closed an indecisive wick, and the reason this is pushing upwards again, this is why you should always observe, like I would say, observe the 1 hour closes and the 4 hour closes. The 4 hours are quite key. I'd pay attention to the 4 hours because in this case, this candle closed like this, and the reason this is pushed upwards is just literally hunting liquidity on this wick here, right? That's all that's happening. Now, let's go to the hourly. Yes, I mean, we just see straight push down, flat candle open, push straight up. So yeah, we bounced around that CME, some smaller, lower time frame areas. Let's go even lower. So I mean, in this case, if we hold around this area here, this is the bullish case scenario, right? Not the bearish scenario. Then that means let's get sessions up again. Let's get Asia up as well. Okay. So you can see here distribution, well, not distribution, reaccumulation. We obviously had this area here, broke above, squeezed. I mean, the bullish scenario would be us holding. Honestly, this box is a bit like I could see this shit breaking. If I was going to play the bullish scenario, then I would probably like, let's say like, yeah, I mean like could be bouncing around the 0.5 and the 0.61 again. So if it was up to me, what I'd be looking for, I need to see a sweep into this bigger box here, just because of this liquidity built on this initial news move, if you'd say. Most of these news moves, they get retraced at some point, and Trump flip-flops all the fucking time when it comes to like news. So I mean, if it was me looking for an extension upwards, I'd want to see a bit more of a deeper retrace below the 0.5, 0.61, sweep all of this liquidity here. And I mean, if we hold, let's say, let's get some previous lows like around here. Let's go like, let's say 30-minute. So yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, I would be looking for obviously a push right back down. Can remove that now. We don't have a gap. Some lower time frame areas here. If it's up to me, I'll be looking for a sweep into this area here. If we hold this, like if we hold around here, then I'd be looking for, yeah, we could test the weekly open. So your bullish scenarios would be like, obviously we hold like around here, we leg up, do something like this, and then squeeze, and then tomorrow we have a rejection, or we obviously push down. We have daily close, then we have Tuesday, maybe form another lower high or something, and then obviously because structure would be bearish if we formed a lower high, then obviously we can continue back down to this area here. So, but yeah, I mean, at the moment, all we've done is hunted liquidity at the start of the week. I mean, I don't really cover many other coins, to be honest with you. I don't really cover Ethereum or Sol, but if you guys want me to cover a certain coin in these streams, just type it in the chat. Do you plan on hedge along in 65k? Yeah, that's the area which I'm hedging on the swing short account. So obviously I'd be looking to hedge on that account. Like I said, I was in a small long up to the gap. That's just because that was this. I have basically the way I have my setup is I have my swing account, my scalp account, right? Swing account, I don't really do anything on. I just leave the position, and then I obviously have my scalps, and then this is where I'm trading more intra-week movements. So, like the session sweeps, for instance, here's what I'm paying attention towards. Solana, please. All right, let's take a look at Sol real quick. Let's just remove this again. Start off with the weekly again. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, if we're just looking at the higher time frame, matter of fact, let's even go to the monthly here to just get a bigger picture. Yeah, so I mean, at the moment, all we've done is really sweep this area here. Maybe had the previous monthly open at 105, so let's just do PMO. Then we have the current monthly open. Then you have the monthly low. I mean, pretty much when it comes to looking for sweeps at key areas, usually the monthly opens and the monthly lows are quite good areas to observe. So that's why you mostly see me start down from the monthly to the weekly to the daily. And when you start planning and preparing, um, that's when things get a lot more easier when it comes to areas to pay attention towards. So in this case here, let's go back down to the weekly. Yeah, I mean, we front run the monthly open. We're testing, let's say here, let's actually remove this for a minute here. So then we have current weekly open. Oh, no, previous weekly open around here. So at the moment, matter of fact, Solid looks like it's already had its retest of upside. So when I mean already had its retest, I mean like in terms of tested around that 92 area, right? Now, let's go back down to like the 2 day. So here, so I mean, it's relatively similar to Bitcoin because like all of these coins are following Bitcoin. So we've just had this like barcode price section up. We had the sweep push down. Now we're testing the previous weekly open and these previous highs here. So I mean, it's very similar to Bitcoin, right? If we maintain below this, then that means what's next? Well, the lows are next because we've already swept the highs. So if we maintain below this area, then obviously we'll push back down to these areas here, but that's all obviously on the daily time frame. As I start going, let's say the 4 hour. Yeah, same thing. It swept the high into NY, push down, hunted a bit of liquidity on this wick, hourly. Yeah, and then we have this is obviously going to be filled with single prints as well. So TPO. Yeah, so single print here, low liquidity here. So again, if we are consistent with the trend, then obviously this would be a clean. So what did we do? We swept this previous wick high, which was here, previous wick low, and obviously we can see like we tested here on the sweep as well. So if the structure remains bearish, pretty much the way I don't analyze alts, and the reason's quite simple, is because whatever Bitcoin's gonna do, alts are likely gonna follow most of the time, right? Most of the time. And in this case, let's say Bitcoin rejects and starts showing bearish structure and starts filling its single prints at 69K, well then obviously this is gonna get filled, but isn't it? Right. So everything is like in sync with each other, that makes sense. So if you understand Bitcoin's price action, it's gonna be easier to navigate what altcoins are gonna do on the lower time frame as well. Not the higher time frame, the lower time frame. All right. But yeah, I mean with Solana, like I said, if Bitcoin does that, let's say Bitcoin, where's that chart I had? So yeah, if Bitcoin rejects around here, forms that lower high and starts pushing down to fill these prints, but then obviously if we go back to Solana, it's going to do something very similar as well. If obviously Bitcoin does that, if Bitcoin goes through with the bullish scenario, then yeah, we might see this area flip. Let's say we form a high low around here. Again, same thing. I mean, 0.61 already tested the point 0.6. I mean, then if Bitcoin goes through with the bullish scenario, then we leg all the way up. Um, what would you do if you close your short? Have no position right now. I mean, if I had no position right now, I would have. Well, firstly, I would have been looking for a short on where's that chart? So I would have been looking for a short around here. Obviously, this was the 71.4k, the previous area. I wouldn't short again if we go up to here because, like, you can already see we've basically swept it once, swept it twice. You don't really want to see it get swept again. So let's just say this retraces all the way up to here, and we're somewhere around here. Then probably going to sweep this lower time frame at 72. I would be looking like let's remove this box for now. I would be looking between this wick here and the weekly open. So if I had no position, I would have already scalped this because this was textbook, right? Like I said, swept once, pushed all the way down, and my open, swept high into my open, then pushed down again. So this was textbook. But if I had no position now, when I would just look at this previous wick here. If we went up to here, like if we got up to here, there's a good chance this wick gets swept, meaning we sweep this one, and I would ladder limits like similar like this. Then put your stop loss like let's say above. I mean, in this case, the way I measure risk reward usually is I look at the ideal target I'm trying to look for, right? In this case, my target's here. Is this a realistic target? Yes. There's nothing. This is not like I'm not aiming for like here, am I? So, given my target is going to be around here, I can adjust my risk reward based on the target. So, in this case, let's say I wanted to short, you could have a stop slightly above this wick here, for instance, here, and this would be like equivalent to like close to a 1 to 3R, for instance. So, that's what I'd be looking for if I didn't have a position. If this was stopped, then yeah, we're gonna sweep the wick high and do that fractal which I posted where we have 3 highs, which is like let's say I don't know, push up to here, have a rejection, hold, push all the way back up, sweep. That would be the other fractal. The fractal I posted on my X, the 3 highs one. That would probably extend all the way up to here, yeah, or somewhere close around here. You need to be careful in downtrends because if we look at this high here, we front run this and we front run this. We rejected here. And if you look on the left, you don't really see anything significantly like a significant resistance there. You don't see that, do you? Right? So in downtrends, sometimes you don't get them ideal sweeps, right? So if let's just say hypothetically that we hold bullish structure, we sweep the highs here, we might not sweep this high here. We might not like. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be trying to target. Oh, look, we have single prints here, some imbalance here, CME gap. Yeah, we have a CME gap. Eventually, that gap is going to fill. But I did show in the previous stream that some of these gaps can take a while to get filled, right? And especially when we're in a downtrend. I'll actually cover that in a minute. But my point is that if we follow through with a bullish scenario, we don't have to sweep like this high. We didn't do this one, this wick. And on this wick here, what did we reject? 74k, what did we reject? A very small area, like nothing crazy, right? So the same thing applies when we're looking for these. This is why people basically you see people increase their targets every time they try to look for the perfection entry, the perfection retest, the perfection fucking FVG entry, whatever you want to call it, right? Um, they try to search for the perfect sweep, the perfect entry. And believe me, if trading was that easy, everyone would be fucking rich. That's not the case, right? That's why sometimes you might see me enter a bit earlier. And the reason is quite simple because if the plan and the confluence is there and it's strong enough, then I'd rather just ladder my bids gradually or limits, right? Whether I'm in a long or a short, slightly before, just in the event like I I missed the ideal retest, right? So you don't get ideal retests, right? Even in bullet trends, you don't get ideal retests. It's the same thing in a bear trend. So just pay attention to that once we come to clean areas, right? That's why my my style is quite different from others, right? I have laddered limits, and the reason's simple is because this is exactly how the bigger players play, right? They're not doing this like trying to snipe the bottom, snipe the top, right? You're trying to ladder in gradually. Like, look, right, let's put it this. If you're trying to enter 100 million size, you're not going to do it in one bid, mate. You're going to do it in multiple bids. You're not going to do it in one. So, yeah, too much slippage. Right, I'm going through the comments now. Do you plan on uploading learning materials and traders education soon? Yeah, I'm working on a like I said, on that PDF, which covers some important structural concepts in terms of patterns. So quite useful, because you can be very profitable with just patterns, right? You don't have to use any of this fancy stuff, right? You don't have to use order flow. You don't have to use open interest funding, CBD. You don't have to use any of this shit. To be quite honest with you, I don't even fucking use this shit much anymore myself. Legit. When we're at these highs here, like when I like, don't get me wrong, I glance at open interest and funding, but it's not something which is like, oh, yep, that's it. I'm gonna enter a trade based off that. It's not. It's one of them things where if I put it at a level of confluence, I'd put it at like 20% out of 100. So like it's a very low confluence for me. So it's like it's just about finding what suits you, and what I've found being most consistent is uh, pattern recognition, the sweeps during sessions, where we have high volatility, higher time frame areas, candle range theory, and obviously I have my pivots and stuff. Basically, I just covered mostly everything in Killer Labs, but I will be posting quite a packed PDF in here with just the structure way of observing things, which is still which is still extremely useful. Yeah, sorry guys, my headset just died, so I needed to just quickly put it on charge. Can everyone hear me still, right? All right, cool, cool, cool. All right. Do you see a scenario where we test 80K? At the moment, if we're speaking present wise, like where we are exactly now, 80K isn't on my radar. The only, like, you see, if we start looking at exactly why people are looking at 80K, like let's go on a brand new chart, right? We start looking at let's go to the weekly. All right, if we start looking at exactly why people are looking at 80K, it's because it's obviously this previous wick here, and not only that, we have basically this area here, right? And if you look at what happened in the previous range, we had very similar, just not as big, right? We had the waterfall price section, filled the imbalance in FVG, pushed down. Now we have the same one here, but also from a fib perspective, matter of fact, let's go on the daily here. It's going to be more easier for me to do that. But I mean, if we take the significant swing high here to swing low, so here, so we extend this all the way up to here, we can see rejected around that 0.61, 0.5 region, right? And if we do the same thing here, swing high to swing low, you obviously have the 0.5 and 0.61, which sits between 79 to 83, right? So pretty much the reason people are paying attention to obviously this is we have one FVG, 2 0.5 and 0.61 extension, and literally just liquidity and a previous high. Now, if we go to like here for it, oh fuck's sake, this chart chops off fuck's sake. Let me find another one. Not sure I want to delete that one because I need to recreate. Okay, I'll delete this one. Don't need this one for now. Right. If we start looking here, so look at this, right? We have a massive leg down. We have a retest. Look at the steep. Look at how steep this retest is, right? If we get a fib and go from swing high to swing low, 0.5, 0.61, what did it do? Front run. We pushed all the way down to here. If we get a fib here, you're not really going to see much because the fib's going to end up being around in the middle here. I'll just draw it anyways, but you see here, had some deviation above the 0.5, 0.61. Then we have the leg down. And what do you see gradually as we go through bear market? The retracements up are what? Shallower, right? Look at this one. We had a nice retest here, right? This was quite a nice retest, right? If you mark from the low here, you had a 50% bounce, right? Very nice retest. But when we start getting to these areas, what do you see? The retracements begin to get very shallow compared to the previous ones. Why? Because the market's illiquid, right? No one is trading, but I mean, not many people are trading a bear market, right? So naturally, the volume is going to die when we get to these lower areas, meaning that the retests are shallower, right? Very shallow. In this case, if we go even down to here, right? What do you see? Textbook retest. It literally looks exactly where we are now, to be honest with you, right? If we just, let's get the snipping tool out, copy and paste this to where we are now, just as an example, right? Pretty much, let's say we are here, right? This was where I showed the 3 drive. Remember this on my Twitter, right? Which would be like that if you follow through with that. But what do you see? That is the area which got front run. Now, if we do the same shit here, I mean, this is everyone's aiming for this because it's a perfect retest. It's perfect, right? It's perfect, but when you have these bear markets, you don't get them perfect retests. They're front runner for a reason. So, do I have my eyes on 80K? Not at that moment. I think the only thing which would make me question it happening is if we start getting to, let's say, 77, 78K. If we get that close, then yeah, we probably fill the gap. But again, like I said, look at how close we were last time before, obviously, we had this bleed all the way down and then capitulation. This was FTX, right? So that I don't know. I don't know. I think that people are trying to stretch their targets too far. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to see over time. But just based off the characteristics of what I've seen in the past, what I see is the lower the price grows, the volume dies. When volume dies, so does the volatility. When volatility is not there, the retests are shallow, right? So that's just my thesis, right? In regards to why I'm not looking at 80K for now, because 80K defeats the objective in my book. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. For instance, if we measure from the low here, so we went from here to, we had a 27% bounce from the lows, right? 27% in a bear market is quite a big bounce, man. This isn't like we just went up a couple percent. We went up 27%. And if you catch that on leverage, which all of the hedge funds probably did, and the institutional traders did, let's say you're on 345x, 27%, 345x. Let's say you're even on 10x, right? 60K. Let's say you had a bid exactly at 60K, round number bid 60K, right? Which was the previous range lows, right? 10% move, 10x leverage, 54K liquidation, price bounce 27%, you're on 10x, you're making what? Fucking crazy amount, man. So I mean, it's not like we haven't bounced, right? We're in a bear trend and we bounced 27% from the lows. Same thing was here, right? We bounced 21% in a downtrend. So it might not seem to people that we've had sufficient retests, but we have, right? We have had sufficient retests. Does anybody have any more questions? Any possibility we could go up to 77k? Would that fundamentally break bearish structure, or would it still be bearish? Just following back to what I was saying previously, even if we get above this area, we can front run this low here. This is what people are aiming for, 80k, right? And I just covered just then, obviously why we might not test this area, but yeah, I mean, if we're at 77, 78k, we could literally just reject. Let's say we have the 3 drive of the highs, which was the pattern I brought up from here. Let's say we are, I think that we are, honestly, I thought we were here, but I don't think that anymore. I don't think we're here anymore. I think we're here. Like we're somewhere here. That's where I think we are. And if we have the 3 drive, let me just get, I've already got it open. Let's just drag it here again. And don't get me wrong, man. Eventually, every pattern is going to break, right? So you need to be prepared for the unexpected as well. Don't go all life savings in just following one pattern. That's eventually, eventually, pattern's going to break at some point, right? But if we look like at the PA, very choppy. So we can see here. What did we see here? Now, if I get a fib, let's say for example on here, you respected around the 0.5 and 0.61, legged up. So let's say we get from that swing low here. So basically this swing low is equivalent to this swing low before the leg up, before the leg up. That's the high, that's the high. If we look here, for instance, this respected a steep retest, which was equivalent to obviously holding that. So you can probably guess a lot of people got fucked, right? Because this was very similar to here, where we respected the 0.5 and 0.61 we legged up. This case, we broke below, meaning that, like I said, based off my updates, that if we cannot flip this, we are literally going to just go boom. Well, it's not going to be that drastic, right? But it's going to be like probably like this, to be fair, like very bleedy, shitty PA, right? Like very shitty PA, and it's going to frustrate people. So if we hold below this, expect this. Flip it, then yeah, we can go up. But if you look at the characteristics in terms of the wave counts and stuff, you can see here it held the steep retest of the range. This one we didn't hold. So there's a slight difference in the structure. So you can use the fractals to your advantage, but you have to obviously look at, okay, so the characteristics are different, right? That's why I'm working on that PDF, which is actually taking a fucking long time to do because, matter of fact, let me see if I can load it. Michael, give me a sec. I have the PDF on my. Give me a second, and I will find it. Yeah, so I've been working on this, where we are looking at different type of structural models and stuff. This is going to be posted in my channel, right? Where we're looking at certain structure. And like I said, you don't need anything crazy. This is going to be something you should read through and go through, but I'm not going to show too much of that because that's going to be posted shortly. But I'm working on that, and it's taken quite a while to do because it's quite thorough in terms of analyzing the structure and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, you see certain schematics like this play off quite frequently. Sometimes it seems too good to be true, but again, once you you'll see through that playbook, which I'm going to post when I'm finished. That the market's repeating a lot of certain price actions, so you should observe and pay close attention towards it. Sung Win Ju, that's Guan. Are you still here? Let me look in the. Is he still here? Is he still here? No, he's left. That pattern he posted is it's so I don't know, man. I might make my account private on Twitter to be honest with you, because the thing is about Twitter is this is such a joke now. It really is. It is such a joke. I don't know, man. It's like when I post something now, I see some shit which looks near enough identical to what I posted like a couple fucking days afterwards, man, and it's the same shit. Because what you're seeing here, this isn't like don't want to be controversial, but what you see is you see people who are in um lower income countries, for instance. Like I said, no offense or anything, I'm just trying to explain something. But you see people who in like Vietnam or somewhere, and what they're doing is they are hired by like Binance to do like a little post on their social media account. And what they're doing is they're just copying people's analysis, posting it to the communities, and they're getting paid like a couple $100 off of that. And it's don't get me wrong, like I can't blame them because obviously they're making money through Web3, and like I mean like they're gonna make more money online than they are like working in their country somewhere. But you just see so many people copying shit, and it just gets put everywhere, and then it just fucking like I don't know, man. It can I don't know. You see a lot of it everywhere all the time, and they don't give credit either. They just post it. They've even removed my fucking watermarks like off the fucking chart and posted my exact chart after removing the watermark. Like, if you want to post some shit, I don't really care to be honest, as long as you put my name and where you got it from. Um, so what's the plan? I missed the long at 67k last night. It happened so fast. Yeah, it was unfortunate. To be honest, I should have posted when I took a scalp on it. To the gap because we had like a 2.5, 3% gap down. Well, moved from here to the gap. But yeah, what did we see? We just saw another higher low form in comparison to here. Didn't really sweep anything crazy. I mean, all we did get close to was the monthly open, and that's at 66.9. So if we go down to like here, we even like pretty much like we just front run like probably the most important areas. Like we see here, we have the monthly open. We bounced what 67.2. So like I said again, in contrast to the retests and the perfect retests everybody's aiming for, it didn't sweep the monthly open, right? It just front run it by a very, very small fraction. So you need to be prepared for these certain things, right? You need to be prepared for these certain things. And I mean, at the moment, we might spend some time up here to be fair. We might not like go and retrace this entire move like this. They might try to like gather liquidity, and maybe we do in fact get that retest of the high again, and then obviously have a rejection throughout the rest of the week. But it's all about gathering liquidity at the end of the day. So we'll have to see what they're going to do. But yeah, we front run that 66.9k monthly open, and I mean, let's look at the monthly open, the monthly chart. Yeah, so I mean, I did say on my X, I don't think they're gonna close the monthly open red. So maybe we just fuck around above 66.9k for the next like let's say week or so, week and a half, like before the monthly closes. But um like I've said, man, we're in a range, right? We're in a range, and we've had some downwards movement. And before we get that sweep, I think we're going to have more range, more chop, more capitulation. People are going to get frustrated. Then they're going to close their shorts before the move happens. So you have to be like extremely patient, right? You've got to pick and choose what you want to do. You're either going to scalp the highs, short close, reshort, close, reshort, close. You're either going to play the game of, okay, I'm going to short when we get to resistance or the key area every time, or you play the game where you round trip loads of fucking times before it plays out. So that's why you need to have, well, ideally, that's why I run two accounts, right? Because if you are only trading on one account and you are in the same swing and you keep round tripping, I mean, naturally you're going to get quite annoyed by that constant round tripping if you are only in that one position. That's why it's best to have a different account, scalps, swings, separate them both, because before we get to 60K, let's say we are here, before we broke the low here from this high here, it took 81 days, right? Meaning that we might only break that low. Let's say we follow something very similar based off the timing. That means we might only break 60K in May, June, right? Which is a long fucking time to break a low. Meaning you're gonna probably round trip a fuck ton. So you have to be, you have to like. That's why I'm very like consistent with my plans, because I hold them for, well, I hold trades for a while, right? So, like I said, if you don't want a round trip, well, then you know the trend's bearish. All you've got to do is wait for the retests, right? Wait for the retests in the trend, and then scalp short, target some previous areas, close the short. Then you just wait for the next sweep and the next sweep. But eventually, there ain't going to be a sweep, and eventually, we're just going to break down, and there's going to be no trade. So as long as you understand that, then no problem. You can scalp for highs every single time. But eventually, like let's say for instance here, rejection, 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 and then rejection. You could scalp these moves, scalp these moves, scalp these moves, and eventually it's going to just go. And then you're going to be like, oh shit, should have shorted, should have shorted. Then you're probably going to FOMO or do something stupid around here. It's going to go up, and then it'll go back down again. You know how the market works, right? So you can scalp the highs as long as you know that eventually this breakdown's probably going to happen if the trend stays bearish, of course. But um, I mean, like I said, you're not going to catch the entire move if you try to catch every move in between, right? Um, Even when we were around here, I posted a short here, posted a short here, even posted one, I think 93.7 here, and that's where we had that wick up, and then I started having my fractionalized entries. So if you start looking, I mean, in this case, I already had my big short for this move down from literally here. Literally here. I already had the same short. And I round tripped it maybe 4 or 5 times before this. Was it worth it? Hell fucking yes, it was worth it. Because whilst everyone was getting liquidated, I was in a fucking short. Right? So you're gonna have these constant retests, man. It's the way the market works. This is how they trap people. This is how they take people out. This is how they make people capitulate. That's why I just have two accounts. Literally, just have two accounts: scalping and then swinging. In this case, I was holding this short for a month and a bit. From literally here, the swing short, still holding. And if you start looking at how long I actually held that position for, closed when we were like around here, it was like longer than 2 months. And if we start looking here, I posted the short from here originally, at this high here. We are only 19 days in, meaning that literally it could take another month for us to see some downside movement to around these lows. So you need to understand that. You need to understand what type of trader you are, and if you are patient enough to go through all of these fucking like round trips and shit. If not, then like I said, just scalp the ranges. Like scalp the bias, scalp the structure, and then just do that. But you're not going to catch every move. Once you try to scalp every move, for instance here, it broke down. The moment it broke down here, you would have missed out on all of this move down. And then because you're not in a short, you're going to think, oh, look, there's a previous low here. Let me look for a long here around here for a quick bounce because I'm not in a short. You countering your own bias in a way. So Yeah, that happens quite frequently as well to a lot of people because they were initially short, they closed their short too soon, then they flip the other side ends up being wrong, and then they're like, oh fuck, I should have stayed with my plan. So I mean, yeah, we need to keep positions. So yeah, so we're thinking pivot three will be formed above 76K on the daily for BTC. Like I said, man, we got to hold below certain areas. Or well, like we got to flip certain areas before we can get above that. So, for instance, gap filled, prior range 71.4. Obviously, we have a lower time frame high at 72s as well. Pretty much, again, if we draw a confluence where we have single prints around here, if we can't flip this area here, then obviously we're going to do like a corrective wave back down, like something like this, right? If we cannot get above this, if we get above this, then we can start talking about obviously another sweep, which does something like this. Have respection of the range, and then we push up. Then we can start thinking about that. But until this area is flipped, um, I'm not looking at 76K for now. I work my way level to level in a way. So at the moment, we like have this range here. 76K is up here. And where is Bitcoin now? It's here. So before we get to this, first we need to flip this, that area there, and then we need to flip this and then respect it. And we're in the middle of it in terms of like the structure, right? So um, I work my way level to level. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. We've been streaming for about an hour now. This is all recorded, so it will be uploaded to YouTube and listed. So yeah. Well, we've got 60 people in. I don't think there'll be that many people around this time. I don't know what time is the best time to stream on Mondays and Wednesdays. Um, any opinions on other assets? Let's look at gold. Seeing there's a lot of people talking about gold. Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, I had a very, very, very funny feeling this was topped when we were around here. I'm not joking. Like, for real, when you see this like Darth Maul fucking witch straight down like this, like, believe me, someone has cashed out big. 20% dump, right? Literally systematic bid stepped in. Everyone bought the dip. And usually, once you see these, like, it's just the nature of the trend, right? We've been so parabolic. Has an instant move, then a recovery like this is rarely a continuation move, especially once we've already done all of this. Usually it's just to take out everybody and then push down. So I had a very funny feeling when we were around here that we were topped. But at the moment with gold, structures, well, you can see for yourself, it's quite messy, right? I did have a long somewhere on this wick here. Um, I took a long myself. I don't know if I should post gold, really. Gold is on BitUnex, but I did take a long here. I went to sleep. I think I had my stop somewhere like around the 4,000, somewhere around here. And yeah, I've already closed the position now, but I closed it when we were like around like yeah 4.4K from here to here, so about 130 pips in forex terms. But um, yeah, I mean with gold at the moment. I mean, you can't really tell much. I mean, let's see if we've held a retest of this wick low here. Let's see if we came back down and held it. Okay, no, we haven't. We have this wick here as well. Yeah, I mean, like you can't really tell much at the moment with gold. I mean, if we manage to get back down to here, then maybe I'll take a long like around here. But until then, the trend is your friend, and it looks more bearish than bullish. So, um, if we're looking like I said from like a wave count perspective, then swing. So for like around 4.7 to 4.9, maybe some swing shorts all the way from here. But in terms of longs, I'd look maybe around here. But yeah, I mean the structure ain't that clean really at the moment. Just look at USDT. So yeah, I mean look at this USDT dominance, right? If we use this against Bitcoin, right? Let's go on the daily, for instance. So what do we see here, guys? What do we see? We saw a genuine break. And just like any fucking retest, we baited out breakout logs. But what's the trend? It's bullish, right? Push up, flag, leg up. And now we're forming another fucking wedge. And what do we see? We are testing these areas. So basically equivalent to where Bitcoin is now. Hold this legs up. This is equivalent to breaking 67.2, somewhere around here. This is your 65k. This is like your 63s, and this is obviously your 60k. So hold here, leg up. If not, I don't know what this line's doing here, to be honest. I don't know why I put that there, but yeah, I mean, like, same thing, like, we have this diagonal support, in this case, like this. So again, like, the sweep above, let's say we went 76, the sweep would look like, let's say, like this. It's just dependent on the count of where we are, right? But if we hold here, and this is the higher low, like this is your higher low, then yeah, this is just gonna boom straight up. For me, this is the best time, rest time. I'm long on silver 67, just ensure. Nice, nice. Someone should BTC now. I did cover some the analysis of obviously what I expect the Bitcoin throughout the stream. Everything will be uploaded like literally straight after this. Straight after this. It might take me like 20, 30 minutes though.